So that's awesome. So you started 8 years old. I want to take a step back also and talk about your parents a little bit. Marcus McMaryion Sr., correct? And Liz, we called her Liz Corpus growing up. Now she's Liz McMaryion. She actually went to high school with myself and my sister. So I went to high school with Marcus's mom, and she was about a grade older. And I was telling you this off camera, but I was really excited. Liz, when you watch this, I just want to say thank you for recognizing me, because, you know, when you're trying to find your identity, when you're trying to fit in, sometimes you find things to try to gain attention. And one of those things is I spent $50, my last $50 on some British Knights, and nobody at school noticed them that day except for Liz Corpus, now Liz McMaryion. So tell your mom I said thank you for that.
I'll
never
pass
forget
that
it.
message along.
Never forget it. Mac, you remember BKs?
I'll make sure to look up BKs when I leave here and figle out what they look like as soon as I get in my car.
Jim said he had the black and whites.
Yeah, they were I wear them on my winter formal.
All dressed up with the. Oh yeah.
Liz was always a charitable person, so yeah. She
was. It was a. Thank you, Liz. So you have your parents. They get you involved. You're 7. You're playing up. And what was that first year of football like?
It was fun. I mean, I know I actually, if we're kind of talking Pop Warner football, I think I was in Dinuba for about 2 years. And then kind of like you said, they had David Rico as, I mean, someone who I have a lot of respect for, and I think he's one of the best quarterbacks to play at Dinuba too. But kind of prior to that in Pop Warner, he was kind of the guy. And everyone kind of knew, hey, David Rico's the quarterback. And I think it was probably my second year in football. I actually went to go play in Wheatley. So I played 2 years out there played on the Wheatley Hurricanes.
I thought they were the Buccaneers for some reason.
They had a couple. They had the Gators.
Packers, Wheatley Packers.
Yeah, they had a bunch of them. So there's another league out there too. That's kind of where I ended up getting, I guess, kind of my first shot at playing quarterback was in Wheatley, because David was going to be the quarterback. And again, no animosity there at all. I have a lot of respect for David. He's a really smart quarterback too.
He's a year older than you?
He was 2 years older than me.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was always kind of the guy that was ahead of me. And even, I mean, rolling into high school too was kind of the same deal. It's like, hey, you got tough shoes to fill, and there's always kind of that respect level. It's like, hey, I'm honored to kind of fill his shoes and kind of step into that role as the next quarterback at Dinuba.
Yeah, and you filled that role for sure.
Yeah.
So then you get through that. What were you like as a student on the scholastic side?
Yeah. So I mean, as far as
yeah,
that's where credit to my mom for sure. I had a 4.0 all throughout. I mean, 4.2 on a roll all throughout high school. Roll into college, even Dean's List. 4.0 in college too. I ended up getting my bachelor's and my master's. Graduated in 3 years from Oregon State. Got my master's at Fresno. So grades were always something that's really important, and just kind of we talked about a little bit off camera as far as just being from Dinuba. I think the sooner you could recognize as a young athlete that, I mean, there's really no other way to say that, we're at a disadvantage. Like the sooner you could recognize that if you have the exact same stats as a kid that's at Buchanan, 9 times out of 10 they're probably going to take the Buchanan
the bigger school,
to where my mom kind of let me know that at an early age, to where I had to give these coaches, I couldn't give them a single reason not to recruit me. So I had to be not only just as good but even better in, I mean, the community, in the classroom, on the field, to where and when a coach came, I didn't want them to leave with a single reason of doubt that we don't need this kid on our roster. And I tried to fulfill that to the best of my ability.
Wow. And I know that your dad also played a big role.
Mm-hmm.
Mac had a story that he was sharing off camera. Mac, you want to share about seeing him and his dad work?
So for the people that don't know, I actually lived just 2 houses down from Marcus. We grew up, just shout out Briarwood.
Yeah,
but
Briarwood
Drive in Dinuba. But just as a kid, I'd be going, leaving for work, real early, 6-something. Had to be in Fresno, and it was, summertime or whatever, and I'm leaving, but I'd see Marcus and his dad pulling the sled, walking to the junior high, pulling that sled to get extra work in with, the little parachute thing that they'd have. And he already had a regiment at such a young age, and that was something that I thought was just like, wow, this is such a different, this is somebody that wants it. You could tell. I mean, and his dad was giving him the tools, so they, early on, you saw his commitment, and I want to also call that out, what Marcus was talking about. His academically, I mean, that was a big thing in high school. Nobody on that team had any excuse for and I was a freshman coach at the time, but Marcus set the tone for everybody. You know, not just as a leadership, as you know, his play on the field, but academically, he was always, 4.2, 4.0. Nobody else had an excuse. Nobody can come to him with hey, we're not going to get this guy this week because he's not going to have grades. That was a tough sell, or to have to look, your quarterback in the eye say, I'm not going to be available. So kudos to Marcus for that, man.
Yeah, big time. I remember being ineligible part of my senior year, and that's one of the toughest lessons I ever learned in life. And it was like never again. So I'm glad you held that standard for you and your teammates.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just kind of like you were saying, as far as growing up on that street, I mean, I had guys like Lorenzo Fraga, that was a really good athlete, to where I had guys like that on my street, to where anytime I went outside to play football, I needed a receiver. My dad's like, hey, go throw with the receiver. I'd go knock on the door. Hey, man, want to come throw the ball a little bit?
And he ended up playing with you, right?
Yeah. So he was actually, probably one of the fastest receivers I threw to at dinuba, to where it was really cool to just be able to throw routes with those guys. But, even like walking over to the junior high, I think a lot of kids get caught up in, I get it. People come from different situations, especially in Delft and in London, to where financially it's hard to afford some of that stuff. Like my dad welded some makeshift metal sled. It wasn't a fancy $300, $400 sled. It's just a makeshift thing, and we threw weights on it, and we went out there and ran and worked out. And I'd be out there throwing up and working out and all that stuff. So until this day, some probably the hardest workouts I've done.
Oh, yeah. Man, when you're throwing up, right? That's where the conditioning coach is like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They're excited.
For sure.
They throwing up yet? All right.
Yeah.
So, Jim, did you ever throw up practice?
No, I didn't take it seriously.
Jim was, okay, I don't know if you know, he played football, right? Made like all league, and then became the mascot the next year.
Oh,
you know how crazy that drives a coach? What'd your coach say to you?
You're going to do what you want to do.
He was pissed.
Yeah, and my dad thought I was gay. So, but not.
Yeah, Mac played for the mighty Wildcats, right, Mac?
Yeah, that was the extent of my football playing career.
But I heard you guys had a strong fight record, though. Didn't you win every halftime?
Yeah.
You guys used to end every game with a fight?
Well, yeah, because we weren't going to win the game, so we might as well win the fight. So,
win something.
We actually got a reputation that they'd tell us if they saw something, they were just going to stop the game right there and then. But we had, as a matter of fact, on that team, we had Marcus's uncle, Jesus.
Oh.
Munoz, shout out my boy, Jesus Munoz.
Jesus Munoz was out there with you guys?
Oh, yeah.
That's
there was I think that year we all got sponsored somehow, so there was a bunch of troubled kids that got to play that year. So coincidentally,
I love that.
The commissioner used to come up to us, too. A little different rules when I played. Roland used to come up to us and say, if you guys are winning by 40, you need to stop because they're going to fine us. So that was my Pop Warner stuff, to where Roland would come up to us and say, you guys, you got to stop scoring because they're fining us. And our coach would say, well, we don't care. And they would just keep scoring.
Wow. And that was 7th, 8th grade?
Probably a little before that. I'm probably like 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade.
Okay.
I vividly remember that. They like Roland would come down all upset. Hey, you guys need to stop scoring because they're going to fine us. And it's like, hey, I didn't know any better. I'm just playing football, as a kid. We're probably the only teams that throwing.
That was Coach Montalvo who would like to run up the score.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Coach Johnny. Yeah,
leave no doubt.
Yeah, nope, 100%. Yeah, shout out Coach Johnny. Let me throw as many touchdowns as I wanted.
Oh my God.